Let me quickly cut across to Munish Pand and Shrishti Ojha. Shrishti Ojha was in court today where Arvind Kejriwal was given judicial custody for a fortnight, 2 weeks. Munish Pand getting us the latest from the newsroom in terms of what the ED sources seeming to tell him. Munish, other than, of course, what the ED made its case in court where Arvind Kejriwal, as per the ED, has said that Vijay Nair, one of the prime accused in the case, reported not to him but to Ayushi and Saurabh. More details there and what to expect in days to come. Do we also see the CBI stepping in at some point?
Absolutely, Preeti. What we have been given to understand by our sources within the Central Bureau of Investigation that 100% they are going to take custody of Arvind Kejriwal in the alleged excise policy scam case. Now, when they will approach the court, that is the bigger question. What we have been given to understand is that all the officials, including the legal department in the Central Bureau of Investigation, is of the opinion that they should seek custody of Arvind Kejriwal, and most probably there is a high possibility that in the next charge sheet filed by the Central Bureau of Investigation, Arvind Kejriwal will be named as accused in the case. If it happens, then Arvind Kejriwal has to seek bail not only in ED's case, but also in the CBI's case, which is going to be troubling for him. As far as Enforcement Directorate is concerned, their strategy is very clear. They want Arvind Kejriwal to be incarcerated in the Tihar jail, and that is why they have not sought further custody of Arvind Kejriwal. The plan is that if there is a need, they can call him again for questioning. He can be questioned within the Tihar jail, and there is a possibility that in future, the Enforcement Directorate may even ask Ayushi to join the investigation, because according to Enforcement Directorate, Arvind Kejriwal, during the questioning regarding Vijay Nair's involvement in the entire crime, he told that Vijay Nair was reporting to Ayushi and Saurabh Bhardwaj. So there is a possibility that she can also be called in for questioning in connection with this case. So ED is moving, its steps very carefully. First, they are claiming that they are gathering evidence, and then only they will question any person in connection with this case.
All right, Manish, appreciate you joining us. Let's pull in Shreya Ojha. Shreya, will you take us through, because there were certain revelations that were made in court today, which Munish has corroborated, especially when it came down to the role and the name of Ayushi and Saurabh. Over to you, Shrishti.
Well, definitely, Preeti. In the last hearing, we saw like a high-intensity dramatic hearing when the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal had decided to not only address the court himself directly, but also make some really strong allegations against the ED, saying that they're running an extortion racket. Enforcement Directorate today has came back with an equally explosive response where they've made strong remarks against the Chief Minister, saying that he's not been cooperating in the investigation. He's been misleading the investigation deliberately. Not just that, according to them, along the non-cooperation aside, he's not been sharing passwords of the digital devices associated with the case, which has important evidence. He's not been giving his phone. Other than that, they've pointed out some statements which have been made by Arvind Kejriwal before ED. According to ED, it's their claim that Arvind Kejriwal's statements have been contrary to the statements which have been made by other AAP leaders before the Enforcement Directorate. They've said that Arvind Kejriwal, when the difference in statements was pointed out to the Chief Minister, he's called the other AAP leaders confused. He's even referred to the national spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party as a confused person. Not just that, another strong statement that has come out from the ED today before court was that Arvind Kejriwal, in his own statement, has agreed that Vijay Nair, who's one of the important accused, one of the main accused in this case, and AAP's former communications in charge, according to Arvind Kejriwal, according to ED, Arvind Kejriwal in his statement clearly stated that Vijay Nair did not report to him but reported to cabinet ministers Ayushi and Saurabh Bhardwaj instead. Why this becomes important is because this is the first time that we have seen Ayushi and Saurabh Bhardwaj's name being roped in by the ED before the court, not just before the court but also in its remand application, where they have claimed that Arvind Kejriwal Kejriwal has claimed to have no interaction with Vijay Nair whatsoever, and has said that he used to report to Ayushi and Saurabh Bhardwaj. What will be important to see here is that while Arvind Kejriwal is now in judicial custody, will the heat or the Liquorgate heat now also increase on Ayushi and Saurabh Bhardwaj? Because we already have 3 Aam Aadmi Party leaders, including Manish Sisodia, Sanjay Singh, and now Arvind Kejriwal behind bars. It will be important to see what the implication of ED's statement today before the court will be. Back to you.
All right, Shrishti, appreciate you joining us. All the angles, viewers, that we've got you. What the ED is thinking, what went down in court, what's happening with Arvind Kejriwal, who's now lodged in the Tihar jail. What is the Aam Aadmi Party thinking? Let's get you that. And joining me for that is my colleague Amit Bhardwaj. Amit, Arvind Kejriwal's confinement now leaves up reeling and facing an uphill task. Multiple issues there. The party is gearing up to navigate through this crisis. They may, at least strategy-wise, directly challenge the Prime Minister on what they term as dictatorial governance, while being steadfast on maintaining their stance on running the government from jail. On the other hand, multiple points, Amit. Very clear on the role of Sunita Kejriwal, that she's going to be Aam Aadmi Party's Trump emotional card in all of this. Very clear on the role of a Bhagwant Mann on what he needs to do, especially when it comes down to campaigning on a national level. They have a Lok Sabha election to fight, and after Arvind Kejriwal, the biggest vote catcher is going to be a Bhagwant Mann, whereas Sandeep Pathak is going to come in and he's going to take the role of the strategist, the backroom boy, who's going to make sure that this election has a strategy in terms of, or a narrative which is being fought. So you might not see him too much on television cameras, the Rajya Sabha MP, but more at the back end. Where Delhi comes into question, Amit, I believe it's going to be an Ayushi and a Saurabh Bhardwaj who's going to be making sure that the government is run. But what if the LG recommends President rule, Amit? Then what is the plan of the Aam Aadmi Party?
Preeti, you spelled out the plan for Aam Aadmi Party that has been chalked out possibly by the AAP chief Arvind Kejriwal himself before going to jail. Because there are specific rules of individuals which was chalked out, and so far it's working very smoothly. As you mentioned, Sunita Kejriwal is the emotional trump card that's working very well, and so is Sandeep Pathak role. We saw the way he minutely managed the Ramlila ground rally. But now the question is that what happens if there is a threat to the president's rule in the national capital, number one. And number two, so far the Aam Aadmi Party is heavily depending on the second line of leadership, the young battery, which was put in reserve mode, ever since the arrest of Manish Sisodia and the Sanjay Singh and the threat of arrest of Arvind Kejriwal looming large. As Shrishti was also mentioning, Ayushi and Saurabh Bhardwaj's name has cropped up in this particular investigation. However, Aam Aadmi Party is saying that this is a statement given by Vijay Nair almost 2 years back to the Enforcement Directorate. Why the agency is picking it up right now, placing it in front of the court right now, is something that Aam Aadmi Party sources are questioning about. Now, coming to the presidential rule part, Aam Aadmi Party right now, they are saying that as far as legal aspects are concerned, the LG or the MHA cannot impose the president's rule in the national capital because there's a brute majority of the Aam Aadmi Party in the Delhi Assembly right now. Even if the Chief Minister is in jail, there are no constitutional provisions which stops them, from running the government from the jail. So they're confident that law is on their side. Back to you.
All right, Amit, appreciate you joining us with that.